Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of The Art of Affiliate Management. And today we are speaking about a topic that is different than what we are speaking usually about. We are usually speaking about success and how to be more successful. But in a lot of us is also a little bit of a darker side, burnout, depression, and it's more common that we would maybe think. Also, I had to go through this valley of shadow already 2 times. One time when my grandmother died, and the other times when practically everything was failing in my life. And this is moving a lot of people here. And I'm very, very glad that especially the adult industry takes very good care about these people with pineapple support. So, Leah, thank you very much for doing all this good work. And also, thank you very much for introducing me to Dr. Monique, that is a psychologist and consultant for pineapple support since 3 years. And with her, I will have a nice conversation about how to prevent things, how to heal, and so on and so on. So thank you very much, Dr. Monique, for taking this time to speak with me about this important topic.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
We are not known to each other now longer than 1 week, and there are for sure other people out there that were not in touch with you as well, especially from the affiliate space. For the people that don't know you, please introduce yourself.
Okay. So my name is Dr. Monique. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I am a therapist. So I'm a doctorate level therapist. I have a doctorate in behavioral health and a master's in mental health counseling. And I see clients from all walks of life. However, I have a specialty in those working in the adult industry and adult sex trafficking survivors as well. I run a student clinic at UNLV, which is the university here in Las Vegas, for graduate students learning to be some version of like a therapist or a psychologist. And let's see what else. I speak English and Spanish, so I try and get in wherever I can to help Pineapple Support or anyone else and talk about different topics like burnout.
Yeah, there is most probably not too many people that would be a better partner to talk to than you with this background. What are the most common problems that your clients, is clients the right term that I'm using?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are the most common problems that your clients, I'm not only speaking now the adult performers, speaking about general, that come to you and that you have to help?
The biggest ones are like depression, anxiety, burnout definitely kind of falls in line with all of that. There's like self-medicating, so like a lot of substance abuse, like alcohol, drugs, even like smoking, like tobacco. And then just trauma. Everyone has their own version of trauma, their different levels of trauma that they've been through. And it doesn't always have to be like family trauma. I think people always think, oh, okay, you grew up in a really bad life, but it doesn't. It can be like trauma in your adult life, trauma from a job, like being in a really toxic environment and stuff.
Do you think that the amount of people with mental problems has increased in the last years?
Definitely. I think thanks to COVID and like quarantines and people being stuck in their homes, made it more reportable. I think mental illness has been around for a long time, and it's either something that's like has a high stigma and people don't really talk about. Well, at least not until COVID, because everyone was stuck. They couldn't go anywhere, everywhere, all around the world. So I think it increased. It didn't increase, but it was reported more. So like once people were able to go out of their houses, or when all the telehealth stuff started, people were able to easily access like a doctor or a therapist and say, hey, I'm not feeling right. There's something wrong.
So it's not that we are now more sensitive or something like this. It's just that there was a thing that was triggering it, and also that we are more open to share it.
Yeah, we're more open to get help for it because it's accessible. We don't have to, a lot of us don't have like health insurance. So a lot of us pay out of pocket. So now we don't have to go
Yeah,
stand at a doctor's
America.
office.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't have to go stand at a doctor's office, at least here. We can find something online, enter our credit card information, and see a doctor the way you and I are talking.
And is the
It's accessible.
Acceptance not only the accessibility but also the acceptance in the society nowadays higher? I remember when I was a kid and my mother had a colleague with burnout. I think I was 13 or something like this. And I never even heard of that. I mean, now the kids most probably know it, but she was like hating a little bit on this woman and was like, look at her, she's weak. They want to send her to the madhouse. Now
Yeah.
I have the feeling it's a bit different.
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit, I think it depends on where you're at and kind of like your culture and whether that's something that's talked about, So like in my house, because I'm a therapist, like I have kids and a husband. And so like my husband's stressed or something, he'll be like, oh, I gotta go and do this. Or even my 8-year-old, she's in 3rd grade, and she'll tell me, hey mom, I had a really tough day today. I had to use a coping skill. And like most 8-year-olds don't know those things. So yeah, I think depending on how you're raised and who's around you and who's talking about it.
And when you look around you, I mean, you are coming, of course, from this background. So it's clear that in your family that is discussed open. But do you think also in your environment or in general, the society accepts it more to speak about these problems?
I'd say on the surface, yes, but it's still very uncomfortable for people. So like superficially, it's like, when you go to the store and they say, hey, how are you? And you're like, oh, I'm fine. Well, you're not going to tell some complete stranger you're feeling like shit. So it's a very like superficial thing, like, hey, how are you doing? Okay, I'm good. You're not going to sit there and be like, oh my God, I had a really rough day. I couldn't sleep last night. Or maybe you are, if you're going like to get coffee or something, like I need a really strong cup because I couldn't sleep. So I think it's superficially accepted.
When I went the first time to America, it was in 2012. I was going to Subway. It was the first thing I ever visited there because everything was expensive. I was going to the cheapest place. And I was going there, and we don't have that in Germany, that people are saying, how's are going? You enter and Germany, they say, what do you want? Coffee. Here, pay, out. So the guy's like, welcome to Starbucks. How are you doing today, sir? And it was in Vegas. It was the first time in America, but also in Vegas. And I start to speak for 1 minute or something like this, that I was out and I'm hangover. And the dude is there like, why are you telling me this? It's like a phrase. And he explained it to me that it's just like a shallow phrase or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you think that the amount of people with mental problems will even increase? For example, the people are comparing themselves with the people that they see on social media and they get complexes.
Definitely. I'd say they definitely have increased, not only just with comparison, but there's a lot of people on social media that that try and fit like a diagnosis or symptoms into one diagnosis. And I always use like TikTok because TikTok's really big right now in all age groups. And there's always something that comes up on a for you page that says like, if you can't sit still and you're looking to the left when you talk to people, just random shit, then you have ADHD. And that's not necessarily true. So I think a lot of people, look at that stuff and then they're like, oh, okay, there's something wrong with me. I have to go and get a diagnosis.
So would you recommend better to simply skip all these things? That when you have like the feeling for yourself to not make the research, to more like search directly for a professional help In Europe, most people have a health insurance. It's anyway a different story. But in America, you said now over telemedicine, you have access to it for like a fair price.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I would say definitely if you have any symptoms that like any symptoms, like if you're stressed, if you can't sleep, if you can't sit still, if you find like during your work day that you just can't focus on something, reach out to your insurance, find a doctor or a therapist that you can talk to, because a lot of symptoms overlap, and so it's hard to, like, when you do your own research and you look online and you Google your symptoms of like, hey, I'm tired all the time, I'm a woman in my case, I'm mood swings. The first things that's going to come up when I type it in is going to say, oh, you might be pregnant. So, there's lots of things that come up. So it's best just to talk to someone and be able for them to assess you appropriately.
So burnout is also called the manager disease, and it was for sure something that I was running in. You described now already some symptoms. We shall not make the people crazy. They should have to get professional help. But what are typical symptoms that people have with burnout?
Well, there's actually like 5 different levels of burnout, and a lot of people don't know that, but it starts with the honeymoon phase. And the honeymoon phase is like typically when you start like a new project or a new job and you're like so motivated, you get to work on time, you do everything you're doing and you're like you're fucking doing amazing. And then that doesn't last forever with anything we do. And then after that is the onset of stress. What happens then is, oh, you realize like, oh shit, I can't keep up this level of motivation. And things are getting a little bit too hectic. There's changes, maybe. Whoever you work with or work for, they come back and say, like, hey, Monique, this isn't working out too well. You got to change this. So then you feel that stress.
Is it some kind of a disappointment?
Well, I think it could be, right? Because you start something and you're super motivated and you're going at it for weeks, and then you realize like, oh fuck, I fucked up somewhere. And whoever you work for says, hey, can you redo this paper? Can you redo this website or whatever it is that you do? And you're like, oh, okay, yeah. And so it adds stress though. And so if you don't take care of that stress right then and there, it turns into chronic stress. And chronic stress is when we all feel burnt out. And so like for everyone, it's different, but it can be like feeling tired, feeling moody, feeling angry, like snappy, like irritable, like you get really pissed off at people who really didn't do anything or at stupid things. You get super stressful, like super, super stressful. Some anxiety might come, your appetite changes. So you eat more or you eat less. You have gut issues. So a lot of people experience like diarrhea or constipation and they don't realize that has anything to do with work. They just think, oh, I got sick, or oh, I don't know, something happened, but it has to do with the brain signals that your body sends or that your mind sends to your body. And then from there it turns into like full complete burnout, where it's like you lose full motivation, you don't want to do anything, you don't want to get up, you don't want to go to work, you don't even want to take a shower, like you don't want to brush your teeth, you're okay fucking laying in bed with a pillow over you and just existing. And then if you don't take care of it, then it turns into habitual burnout, which is that 5th step, where you become anxious, you become depressed, you become an insomniac, or you become so just like stressed out that you have to go to see someone.
Especially in our industry, there's a very high demand for affiliate managers and people working in this space. You get lured into companies with super high promises, and very often it's really not kept up. There are a lot of people that say, okay, I followed the wrong path and I move on. but what are strategies to apply maybe from the first moment when starting a new job in a very stressful environment, because our job is very stressful. It's not like, I don't know, you're a baker and you make for 30 years the same bread. The worst thing that can happen is the oven is not working. You buy a new one and it's going on. Here, your accounts can get shut down, or your accounts are getting shut down. Laws are changing, regulations are changing. What is a good strategy to maybe apply for all of these 5 steps? Because most people will not realize it, that it's a problem until number 4. But if you are watching this now and you are maybe more sensitive, what are things that how you should behave in all these 5 stages?
So I always tell people to establish your boundaries. Like, establish your boundaries with whoever you work with, whoever you're partnering with yourself even. Determine, like, if you're going to work at home or if you have like an office space at home, what are your hours? It's really hard because people work from home. Like, I work from an office and then I go somewhere else. But when I used to work from home, I found it was really hard for me. And so just figure out what your boundaries are. What are your non-negotiables? So you said a lot of like laws change and stuff. That's the same like in behavioral health when you deal. So I'm licensed in a couple different states and laws are changing all the time. And so I definitely can empathize with that. And so I have to be aware of that stuff, but I only get like updates on those like once a day versus like my email pinging every 5 seconds. So maybe create some boundaries for yourself. And if you start noticing like, oh, I'm really dreading, going to work today or logging on or doing a project, take a minute, take 5 minutes, take 2 minutes, go outside, take a breath, splash your face with water, drink like something that's healthy for you. I'm drinking coffee today. I'm not a good example, but I did go to the gym this morning.
And I was also in the gym this morning. Monique, we have the same routine. We are both smiling also, so I think we are in control of our shit now.
Yeah. And so just take a minute, be flexible with yourself, and also know when to take a day off. I think that's the hardest thing for people in general that work, is not knowing when to take a day off, when to take some time off. Knowing that it's okay that if you can't work a full 8, 10, 12 hours, it's not realistic to do that on a consistent basis. And then B, hey, I'm not gonna be available for 2 hours. Like, take a minute, be flexible with yourself and be okay with that.
This sounds for me like the stuff that you can do in the beginning to protect yourself. But let's say you are already in phase number 3, and for a lot of us, we would not have done that in the beginning. So we are ending up now in phase number 3. It has also more factors. It's not you go to work, it's not as good as you think, but in some way it's okay. But you're ending up at phase number 3. What you do now when you are realizing that you eat bad, you are nasty to your colleagues and so on, what you should do if you realize it yourself and you know that something is off?
Talk to someone, call a friend, look on, there's lots of different, you can like Google or search something like support groups online, or even I have a couple clients who go on Reddit. I don't really like Reddit because there's so many different stuff on there, but they have some supportive places or some supportive, I guess, pages or whatever, chats where you can go and talk to people, like just random strangers, and say, hey, like, this is how I'm feeling. Do you guys have any ideas? And just talking about it, getting it off of you. But the problem is a lot of times we don't know. We don't know until we're at like that 4th or 5th step.
Yeah. But when you realize that something is off, you say watching TikTokers or some amateurs of this is not good. But finding like people that are going through the same phase or even expert can be very healthy. So even talking to a stranger is helpful. It's the it's the communication to get it off your chest, if I understand it correctly, that makes it helpful.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And okay, you missed out also this because you learned all your life you have to be a tough person. It doesn't matter if you are a man or woman, you have to go through this. And as my mother told me, if you are depressive, you are a weak person. She would have told me this if I'm a girl as well. I'm sure about that.
Yeah.
So you are in phase number 4. What are you doing now? Because now you are definitely realizing something is off.
Yeah, definitely. I would say if you're in phase number 4, or you're starting to feel and people are coming to you and saying, hey, Dr. Monique, you're being like kind of bitchy lately, you know, are you okay? That means you're already in stage number 4 and they're just trying to be real nice to you to let you know like there's something wrong. I would say reach out to someone, reach out to a professional. You can usually start like with your main doctor, sometimes like your pharmacist. I know here in the US, pharmacists know a lot more people and have better recommendations, I think. So start with somebody like who's a medical professional or a behavioral health professional, make an appointment, because from there it's only downhill. And you can't get out of it. Sometimes you can't get out of it without like taking medication. I've been on medication many times in my lifespan. And I actually just recently got back on medication like in the last 2 weeks because I was just doing way too much and I wasn't keeping my boundaries. And I wasn't working out. There was a lot of changes in my life and in my work schedule, so I had to do all these other things in order to get back. And I'm starting to build up now.
And on all of this, additionally, Leah comes around the corner with some random German that wants to have you in a video podcast. So appreciate that even more.
That's the way the universe works, though.
That's the way how the universe works. But I know how it is when you load too much on yourself. In my case, it was like I had the online marketing stuff to work on. I bought 5 restaurants because I thought this is my big dream. And I had a kid on the way, and everything was not as it should be. The online business changed regulations. The restaurant, I'm not a guy that should have a restaurant. I fucked them all up, practically lost all my money, had to start from scratch. And with the kid, it was also not in the usual way. The kid is healthy, but that's a different story. So it was a bit too much for me at this time as well. Too many projects also. I mean, the kid is not a project, but it's too many things that are taking your mind. At what stage it becomes really dangerous for your health? I'm not only speaking about the mental health, but the stress hormones that are maybe causing cancer or heart attack and God knows what, or even suicide because it's too much.
Yeah.
I would say it gets really dangerous.
I would say at like that 3rd phase at chronic
already.
Stress. If you're feeling stress every single day, every moment that you're at work, every moment that you're with, even like with family, friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, you need to do something with somebody else. Somebody else needs to help you do something.
Okay, what you do, we spoke now about if it's happened to us, but if you are realizing a behavior change, a not positive behavior change at a colleague, a friend, a relative, how long you should maybe watch it until you have a serious talk with this person? I mean, if a colleague is one day in the morning grumpy, and you will not go to him and say like, hey, today you are grumpy, off to the therapy with you. But how long it usually takes until you approach somebody? And is it also okay to approach somebody if you are not that close and give this advice? Or is it maybe even doing more damage?
So I would say, even say you and I were in the same place, Stefan, and you came in cranky one day, I'm the type of person that I would bring it to your attention maybe later on in the day or something. I'd probably come with food because I'm Mexican and I'll bring you food. And I'd tell you, hey, are you all right? You were kind of cranky this morning. I think if you can talk about it to other people, if you notice people's behavior is kind of off, make them aware of it. Don't tell them, oh my God, you were such an asshole when you came in today. But tell them, hey, I noticed you were kind of off. Are you okay? Can I support you in any way? Because a lot of times that's all it takes is one person to feel like nobody wants them, nobody understands, because when we're feeling like shit, we feel like only we've felt like that, when that's not true. Everyone has felt like shit at some point in their lives. And when you're in the shithole, you feel like, oh my God, no one's ever felt like this. No one's gonna care if I'm gonna disappear. But you bringing it to somebody's attention says, oh fuck, they cared, they noticed. So even if it's somebody that you're not really close to and you work with them or you see them, I go to Starbucks a lot. So like there's this barista that I see all the time, and I hadn't seen her for a couple weeks, and I saw her yesterday. And I was like, hey, were you on vacation? And she was like, no, I had to take some time off. I was like, oh, well, I just wanted to let you know we missed you.
Yeah, that's very nice.
I don't know if that saved her life. I don't know if that made her feel better. I don't know, but I know in that moment, I did what I needed to do to let her know that, hey, I noticed you were gone. I figured you were on vacation, and I want to let you know that I'm glad you're here.
One thing that I realized is that when you are speaking open about it, and I'm very open, I mean, now it's on the podcast, it's forever, that the people are very open to share it. And it's very often people that you would not expect. So sometimes the strongest people seem to be like deep inside the most hurt. Is this something you can confirm, or if it's just the people that I met now?
No, I would say I would say that's probably true. I think the strongest people are people who appear like very strong, both like in stature and just like emotionally strong, or people that are into a lot of things. They're also the most sensitive people. So they're, they probably do get their feelings hurt. The people that say, oh, I don't give a fuck, I don't care, I don't let haters bother me, or whatever that is. That's not true. They care a lot, and it bothers them a lot. I'm one of those people. So I think they're more sensitive, and because they're more sensitive, they hold everything in until it explodes or implodes.
That is maybe an important thing. They heard all their life, hey, you have to be tough. They appear tough, but deep in them, it's like boiling. And then from nowhere, they jump out of the window or go really crazy when others are maybe going step by step into like a depression. What are the solutions besides seeing a therapist and medication? Let's say something way more conventional that you can do yourself. You said already you go to the gym, you are happy. It's for me the same. In between, I had a time when I was I was on the border. I was most probably on the border to go from 2 to 3. And I saw a guy, and the guy was like this. I live in Romania. In Romania, this guy was sitting like this behind the chair, and he was my age. And but he was very friendly, and he said, yeah, why you are here? I said, yeah, I'm feeling shitty, cannot sleep, don't like nothing, and blah blah blah, don't want to see anybody. He said, like, look, dude, I had exactly the same, and I don't want to send you to therapy, I don't want to give you pills. Look at me, I'm this strong guy. You know why? I work out so hard that my body hurts more than my mind, and it's a perfect prevention. So I started to work out really hard. It had also the advantage that I looked better, so it was then also nicer with the girls. So this also cheering me up, of course. And that helped. So you mentioned that as well. What are other things that the people should do to stay mental healthy? Maybe not even before they enter stage 1 or 2, just like, I don't know, brushing your teeth. You also should not brush your teeth only when they are already black.
Right. So, I mean, like, doing things that make you feel good. So, like for me, I go to the gym. It's more of a mental health thing than like getting fit. That's good. That's a benefit too, right? Like you lose weight or gain muscle or whatever that is. So like walking. If you have animals, take them walking. Journaling, drawing, coloring. I have like a coloring book that I color in the middle of clients, like a client
You know what,
out
I
or
have
whatever.
puzzles. I recently started to discover puzzles, and it's chilling me a
Oh,
lot.
okay.
And also I can do it with the kids, so it's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I have like I like Sudokus too. So I do like the number games and stuff. I would say some doom scrolling. So some like funny TikToks or some funny videos or YouTubes that you want to go on and you want to look at. Just don't go down the rabbit hole where you're there like for 2 hours. That's not good. I like to go get my nails done. I go get my hair done. I try and go get a massage like once a month. Like just do things that make you feel good. And if you don't have like money to go and do the things that would make you feel good, like you can do things at home. You can I like to cook. Most recently that's been my thing. So like I'll cook a good meal for my family. I make sure that I try to eat well. I don't always eat healthy, but I do try and limit red meats and limit my fat intake and all that. Here in the US, our diet is awful. If you've come to visit, then we don't have anything healthy anywhere. You got to go to a special kind of store.
And it's
so
corn
it's
soup,
like,
corn syrup everywhere.
yes, exactly. And so just making sure that you're taking care of yourself. You can take a bath, you can take a warm shower, being mindful of like little things, like you said, brushing your teeth, even putting lotion on yourself. I don't know if you've ever put lotion on yourself and really like paid attention to how your hands are touching your body. Most of the time
no, I have not done that.
Yeah, people just put on lotion, they do this, they do it real quick. Like next time you're feeling really, really stressed, try this. And listeners, whoever's watching or whatever, try this. Just take a minute, and even if it's just on your arms, if that's all you have time for, is just take a minute to like pay attention to how you're touching yourself when you're putting lotion on. And I promise you that day you will have a pretty low stress day.
So lotion before pills. Everything is in some way, if I understood it correctly, a chemical process. So we are stressed. It's activating some hormones that are not good for us. What is the influence of? I'm not even saying like bad food, like maybe a lot of fat and white bread or something like this, but really of like food with a lot of chemicals. I don't know if you go to Taco Bell or so. I heard it's like very chemical, the meat there or something like this. It tastes very good from what I remember. But how is the influence of food and maybe lotions and shampoos that have microplastic and chemicals inside? How big is the influence of this on us?
I would say that's not my specialty. So I'm just speaking kind of from personal knowledge and stuff. I would say it's highly influential. It can affect you in different ways, different things that we put into our body or on our body that our skin absorbs affects our hormone levels. And when we have stress, we have an increase in cortisol. And when we have an increase in cortisol, we start to crave things. So that's where we get like a lot of those physical symptoms from. That's about the most that I can say on that. I'm not too knowledgeable when it comes to that.
Yeah, okay, but it definitely is not helpful for you if you are like, it's like this. How to deal with people that are really close to you? I'm not speaking about colleagues, but really like partners, kids, parents. If you spot symptoms of depression, of borderline, God knows what, and these are the people you cannot avoid. With a colleague, you can change the job. You can say like, I going in a different department. I don't speak with this person. You can make this with a partner, but you cannot do this with the kids and the parents. So how you handle a person that is going through these phases and don't want to see help?
Yeah, I would again, just talk to them. When you make people aware of what they're doing and you do it in a gentle and compassionate way, you can usually, convince them, or they know that like you're there to support them. But it's hard, especially when it's like family. It's hard because
Mm.
lots of people have different beliefs about, people think, even now, people think that, oh, I can't believe I'm seeing a therapist. I'm not crazy. Well, you don't have to be crazy. Seeing a therapist is like, should be a normal part of people's routine. You don't have to come once a week, maybe just once a month or once every quarter.
Mm.
Being able to offload and talk about something in a neutral place where no one's going to throw it in your face, no one's going to hold it against you later, no one's going to be like, oh, Stefan, remember that day you did this or that? No, the therapist doesn't do that. A therapist is just there. We listen to you, we help guide you. If you want like advice, we can do that too. We can give you kind of some advice or steer you in the right direction. We help validate you and let you know that you're not alone.
So it's always important that when you speak with somebody and bring up this topic, that you do it without blame.
Yeah.
Because this is also the secret source, or one of them, from the therapist, that they don't have anything with you in person, and that's why you open up, and otherwise you get defensive.
Yeah. I always tell people, when you're bringing anything, even if it's something like something at work, bring it up when you have a question with the other person. Bring it up like using an I statement, like, hey, I noticed that you came in today a little off. Is everything okay? And have it be like a curious question.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or a curious statement. Like, I talk a lot with my hands, so I do a lot of this. I'm like, hey, I'm noticing that you're off today, or your vibe. I have a coworker, and a couple weeks ago she was really, really stressed, and at the end of the week, because I was really busy all week as well, and finally when we got some time together, I was like, hey, I noticed the week's been really heavy. Is there anything that I can do for next week to make your week easier? And she kind of like sat down and she was like, oh, you're not mad? And I was like, no, why would I be mad? I just want to better support you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, everything that you say make you really appear, we speak here only on Skype, like a truly nice person that is caring about people, and not only for the job. You really do this because it's your character.
Thank you.
Yeah. So actually, with this nice compliment towards you, we can already end it. It's very uncommon that I speak that much in the podcast. It's like maybe normally 20% me, 80% the guest. This time it was maybe 35-40% me, because it's such a personal thing. But the expert has the most time. So Dr. Monique, I thank you very much for taking this time to speak here, shine some light on this critical topic. And once again, also, I want to say thank you to Leah and the Pineapple Support for making this call possible. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day, Monique. Ciao.
Thanks.